Hello Libra, welcome to your weekly tarot reading here on Dove and Serpent Tarot. Please hit the like button, leave me a comment, and consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. Now this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask that you try to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I'm providing. Okay. Remember that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And here we have an 8 of Swords. That's going to start us off today, but don't worry, we'll get through it. And we're going to do that with our Dove and Serpent spread. And as I lay these cards out, I also want to say that if there's anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know in the comments down below. Okay, I do read every comment. Now we're going to continue with our Dove and Serpent spread. Get the path of the serpent all worked out. Mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. And we're just going to put this right over here. We're not going to look at it until the very end. And hopefully that will tie everything together and, give us the confirmation that we're looking for at the end of the reading. Okay, so looking around the room here, we've got Major Arcana, and that is our only Major Arcana. We have some water, some air, some fire, some earth. Pretty balanced over here on the path of the dove. Path of the serpent, we have air, fire, and water court cards. So we have, these 3 court cards, which are primarily these water cards. Those are going to be very interesting, I think. And we also have this fire here that's linked up with this fire up here at the top of the path of the dove. But it's all centered right now around this 8 of Swords. This pesky old 8 of Swords, right? You're definitely in this kind of mode right now where you're questioning everything, I think that you're in a real, I almost want to say a crisis of faith, kind of. But it's almost like a crisis of trust, I feel like you're really questioning everything. You're starting to second guess some of the beliefs that you've held, some of the paths that you've taken, the choices that you've made, okay? You're a very rational person. Now, I can probably say that about every Libra that I've ever met, But I think particularly this, for the next 7 days, I think you're really going to be in this energy of wondering if you've made the right assessment of things. Did you look at that the right way? Did you make the right decision about that person, that subject, right? That path. And I think usually you don't second guess yourself. I feel like usually you assess a situation, you analyze it, you get the details, you make a decision, and you're comfortable with that. You're confident in that, But the next 7 days are going to challenge that, and you're going to really wonder if there's something influencing you that is maybe leading you to doubt yourself or question the way you're interpreting something, right? So I feel like there's kind of a double air energy here, kind of a double analysis of things. Okay. Now, Libra, yeah, you're all about balance, right? Connection and balance, equilibrium. And I think that's what you're really striving for this week, but I feel as if that's not coming easily because your decisions aren't really final. You're not yet ready to make a final decision about something, You get close and then you start kind of looking at it from a different angle. And I think this is a good thing, right? The 8 of Swords is usually not a very optimistic card. Okay, let's just say that. Usually the 8 of Swords is all about us imprisoning ourselves in a lot of analysis, a lot of second guessing, to where we're unable to make a move because we keep second guessing it, right? We keep trying to look at it from a different angle. Before we know, we're tangled up in this mess of thoughts, and we don't even really know what our initial impulse was. And we're so wrapped up in this air energy, we're so surrounded by these swords, that we're unable to use our intuition. We're kind of cut off or sealed off from our gut feelings, right? And I think that's why on the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, the Eight of Swords is blindfolded and bound, surrounded by many, many swords, right? There's danger in all of these thoughts, all of this analysis, all of this overthinking. We're blindfolded because we obviously can't rationally see our way through all of these swords. So we cut off our vision in order to get that intuition, right? So this is a card, it's not so much a negative card. It's a card that says, look, we have to rely maybe on our gut, on our intuition. We have to try to reach a conclusion through other means rather than this rational thinking, because it's become a little bit too much. Okay, kind of hyper-rationalizing here. But what is this all about for you this week? What is all of this thinking involved with? Well, I think that leads to the water sign person. I think it's one person. I feel like within the next 7 days, you're going to meet someone that's very, I want to say important, I want to say intriguing, okay? It could be that their sense of, or I should say your sense of their significance, their importance, is very intriguing to you. You get this initial feeling with this person, and I think it's a water sign person, but not necessarily. Okay, the water in this case could be indicating the type of perception that you have. It could be that gut feeling you have about this person, that intrigue. You don't know why. Maybe that's what you're trying to sort out with the Eight of Swords. You're not sure why you're so intrigued by this person, but it feels like they're very significant. Like you're meeting them is almost uncanny. There's almost something kind of strange and eerie and a little bit wild about how you meet this person, okay? And I think you're going to be meeting them within the next 7 days. I don't see an indication that this is necessarily a romantic thing, okay? How this relationship develops, what it becomes, what kind of relationship it becomes, I think is beyond the scope of this reading. I think right now we're going to be meeting this person, and we're going to feel a very strong connection, a very significant importance to this relationship, whatever it turns out to be. If it turns out to be romantic, great. Platonic, great. If it's a work thing, a business deal, partnership, great. Okay. If this just remains a kind of minor acquaintance, that's great too, right? That's, again, it's kind of beyond the scope of this projection. But I feel like there's going to be something about them that is very intriguing to you. And there's going to be this sense of importance. There's going to be this sense that there's a reason why you've almost stumbled into this person, maybe literally stumbling into them, right? It's going to feel very significant. But that's where your rational mind starts to kind of try to figure things out, and it's not making any sense, okay? The way you initially feel about this relationship, the gut feeling that you have, you start to try to rationalize it. You start to try to make sense of it through your normal means, right? And I think that is getting you a little bit further and further away from the intuition, from that inner spiritual kind of knowing, right? So I think that is what is going on this week, and I think that's the kind of conflict that you have this week, right, is between this initial feeling that you get, this strange sort of perception that you receive or attain when you meet this person, and your rational mind trying to sort through it. Find out who this person is. What is this relationship about? Why does it feel so important? Okay. Now we're going to go to the recent past because maybe this will give us a clue. This is the Nine of Cups. This is one of the best cards, I think. This is a real pursuit of happiness. And I think in the last, let's say 9 months, let's say a year maybe, within the last year or so, I think that you've made a lot of life-changing resolutions about your life. You've made probably some very significant changes, okay? And I'm feeling that there's a large body of water here. This water that I'm feeling could be something about healing, right? Some sort of healing water, maybe a connection to medicine or the medical field, or something like that. Doctor, nurse, physician's assistant, medical assistant, LVN, or you know, all those sorts of things. I feel something with the healing water going on. And I think that's just one of the changes that you've made. Maybe it was a career change. Maybe it was a change in the way you are expressing yourself, expressing your love, your care, your nurturing for other people, right? So it could be part of a very significant series of life changes that you went through. And again, I think the last year you've made a lot of these changes. Okay? And I think one of which, maybe the most important one, has to do with this healing water. So it could be your healing water that you are now expressing to other people. Maybe you've taken on more of a healer kind of role in your life. Maybe professionally, maybe just in your personal life. But that is one of many series of very significant changes for you. Okay? And I think that you have been refocusing your life on this Nine of Cups, on the pursuit of your happiness. Okay? Perhaps before this 9 months or 12 months, further back in the past, you weren't really in this for yourself. Do you know what I mean? You maybe weren't as focused on your own happiness, your own fulfillment, as you feel now that you should have been, and that indeed you are now, right? Maybe you've had some realizations about yourself and about what really does make you happy. What kind of things fulfill you? Is it being in a medical type of role? Is it about expressing this healing water to others? Is that fulfillment for you? You know? The main concept, though, I think, is beginning to pursue those things. You're making those changes in your life that kind of put you at the top of the list a little bit more, you know? You are taking yourself a little bit more seriously. You're giving yourself more of a priority, and you're pursuing your happiness. You're pursuing those things that fulfill you, not only physically. I think you've made some physical changes to diet, to exercise, to activities, sports, getting outside more, working with your hands, something physical. Right? That's very satisfying. That has meaning for you. And I think emotionally and intellectually as well, you've made changes. Maybe you've changed your field of study. Maybe you've begun some college courses, some vocational studies that you've always felt drawn to, but you just never did that for yourself, right? And emotionally, I think that you are becoming more discerning about the kinds of relationships you have. And that's what brings me to this water sign person. Because the water sign person is it's one of these confusing people. It's one of these, you can't tell if they're inside out or right side in. You don't know what's going on with them. It's hard to get a read on them. It's hard to use your powers of discernment your intellect, your logic to figure this person out. So we're trying to rely on our gut a little bit more. Because this person is significant. This is significant. And we can't figure out why just through rational discourse, right? Through logic. Now we have to use a more subtle intuition to figure out what's going on. Okay? Why they're significant. Now, beneath the surface, 9 of discs. This, I think, is related to some of this an unconscious striving that you have now to do things for yourself, to attract things to you that you need, that you want, that you enjoy, that you feel a sense of pride or a sense of accomplishment with, or that give you a sense of meaning and purpose and fulfillment. You're attracting these things to you in an unconscious way. Okay? This is some earth energy in a subconscious placement. So it's this magnetism that you have now, right? It's this ability that you have to just kind of attract things to you that you need in the moment, at this time in your life. And that could be, again, why there's difficulty with this 8 of Swords, trying to figure it out rationally. Why are these things appearing in my life right now? Because we can't find a conscious, logical reason for them. It doesn't seem that I need these things now, but I've attracted it into my life, so it must be significant, right? It's almost a direct dealing of your soul, yourself, your spirit, and the higher spirit, the higher soul, the higher self, God, goddess, deity, whatever you want to call it. It feels like there's a very important reason why everything is placed in your life right now. Okay? And that's because of this kind of unconscious magnetism that you are, you're kind of vibrating at this level that is attracting all the things to you that are going to help you on your path, even though you may not recognize their significance in the moment. You're not throwing these things away because part of you knows, okay, it must be meaningful. And I think that's what's going on with this water sign person. Their appearance in your life must be meaningful in some way. There's something for you to learn, to understand, to accomplish here. Some sort of work for you to do with this person or in regards this person. Okay, now I'm not saying you have to go off and get married or go into business with this person or anything like that. But your relationship with them, perhaps just through casual conversations, right? There's some significance there. And I don't want to try to get too specific because I don't know, honestly. I don't know what the significance is. But I do feel like you have this emperor energy that is lording over this entire reading. This is the card that, it's kind of everything in a nutshell. It kind of is this emperor energy overshadowing this whole reading. Because, yeah, it's the only major arcana card. So it's very significant, right? And this is, in some ways, this is the authority in our life. Who is it that we answer to? Right? Who is it that is giving you the direction that you need in your life? Is it God, goddess, deity? Is it your higher self, your higher soul? Has this been in the past another person? Either a relationship, a spouse, a parent perhaps, that has been our source of right and wrong, of good and evil, of yes, go do that, or no, don't go do that. So who are we giving this power to? Because I think it has a lot to do with this 9 of Cups, right? We've made these changes to pursue our happiness. We are kind of on a relatively unconscious level, attracting these things to us that we need, that will fulfill us, these tools, these, the abundant resources that we need to make progress in our life and do the things we want to do and reach fulfillment. Perhaps there wasn't always room in your life for you to do that. Like I said, you hadn't always put yourself as the top priority. So maybe this entire thing is symbolizing you taking back that authority over your life. Putting your faith, your hope, your trust into a higher power, into your own higher soul. God, goddess, deity, guardian angel, your conscience, even whatever you want to call it, your higher mind. Because I feel like you really thrive under appropriate leadership. Okay, and I think you're learning how to really, in effect, be your own leader. Do you know what I mean? Rather than the decisions being made for us by society, by religion, by parents, family, by our significant others, we're giving that authority back. We're taking it back. You're retracting things back with this Nine of Discs, right? Interesting, we have the Nine of Cups and the Nine of Discs. I feel like you're creating a really stable foundation for your life. You're focused on your fulfillment. You're putting yourself further up the list of priorities, right? I'm not saying kick everybody else off the list. I think you have responsibilities to other people. I think that's part of your fulfillment. Again, this healing water. You're putting yourself back towards the top of the list, and you are attracting things to you that, they require your discernment, right? It's ultimately up to you how you're going to interpret all of the events. Particularly this water sign person, meeting this person, this event. You have no one to really look to say, hey, what does this mean? What is the significance? What should I do? These are questions that you're going to be asking yourself. Your higher self, God, goddess, deity, whatever you want to call it. And I'm not saying all of those terms are synonymous, okay? But depending on what you believe in, the authority comes from somewhere. But ultimately, it's you making the decisions, right? Ultimately, it's you making the decisions. And I think that is very important because, again, I feel like you haven't always made the decisions for yourself. Okay? Now, I don't know if this was a relationship in the past that was a bit controlling, or if it's family that was controlling. But I feel like we've always deferred to someone else's judgment. Let somebody else make those big decisions, right? But now you've got this, almost like this new freedom through all of these, again, recent, last year, all of these significant changes that you've made. We now have this sense of freedom, but it's also a lot more responsibility. Because now the decisions are all yours, okay? But enough about this. Let's go to this maybe immediate future. Maybe this is the way forward. This is the Four of Wands. Okay, this is a temporary settlement. This is a temporary campfire, let's say. We're taking the fiery energy, which could be from this emperor, this decision-making, this authority, this leadership, right? And we're grounding it. We're saying, okay, let's set up camp here and see what's going on here for a while, right? So I feel like this The keyword for this card is completion. I feel like this water sign person is in some ways giving you some kind of closure. They're bringing you through your interaction with them. They're going to bring you a realization about something from the past. Something about you, something that you've been working on, something related to your life and your path going into the future, right? Some kind of closure, just through, again, through casual conversations, you're going to have a realization that's going to settle something in your mind, okay? And I don't know what that is, but it's in some way related to this authority, this fire energy coming down and being grounded, right? Like a temporary campfire. It would just stay for a night or two and then we'll keep moving on. And I think it has a lot to do with this Emperor and this Nine of Discs. Okay? But to get the Emperor to the Nine of Discs, we have to go through this Eight of Swords. If you're looking at the overhead, we have to go through this Eight of Swords and this water sign in order to really bring the Nine of Discs into conscious awareness, right? Be aware that we are attracting to ourselves through the energy that we put out. We're attracting the right things to us. And then also to bring this authority, this Emperor energy down into conscious awareness, to own it, you know? And these two, the fire and the earth, kind of mingling, getting to know each other, at least for a time, I think is going to show you the significance of this water sign person. And that is basically symbolized by this. This is the temporary union of the fire and the earth. It's the four, which is the earth, the elements, structure, stability, manifestation of the wands, of the fire energy, of the authority and leadership of the Emperor. So the Emperor is out traveling, doing Emperor type stuff, but stops and sets up camp here for a moment. And that's your leadership. That is your conscious awareness. It's almost like a very lucid moment for you. And it is not going to be had by this Eight of Swords. This is kind of what we have to get out of. I think there's too much of this going on. Too much of the over-analyzing, the trying to be too logical, too reasonable about things. We have to bring the Emperor down, we have to bring the Nine of Discs up, and we have to create that temporary campfire. And that's the lucid moment where you have the authority over your life and you have the decision making, you have the awareness of your power, of your magnetism, right? So there's no thinking involved here, really. It's just you're the Emperor. You know that you have brought these things into your life for a reason. Okay? And now the task for you is to figure out what that reason is. But again, not by overthinking it. Because that locks us in place. Right? It's really difficult to move when we're just kind of tangled up in all of these wires. So, Path of the Serpent now. Path of the Serpent now. Still struggling with all of this air energy I see. The first card that we see that we're struggling with is the Seven of Swords. Now, the Seven of Swords, you can see right in the middle of that central sword, that Ace of Swords. That's your clarity. That's your certainty. That is the weapon that the Emperor will wield when that Emperor is out in the field, out at this temporary campsite. It'll have its sword with it, right? It won't really be this wand or this scepter. I think they'll exchange that for a sword. And that's the central sword of truth and justice and authority, and the kind of authority that's going to fight off these doubts, these questions, all of these minor daggers or swords that are attacking that central sword, that's not going to influence you. So it's almost as if we have gotten ourselves out of this mode of overthinking, overanalyzing, entertaining every contrary thought that comes into our head until we're just in a big tangle of like Christmas lights. We can't unravel it. That reminds me of Christmas Vacation. I love that movie. And so we've gotten out of that, but we still have to be on guard against getting back into that, because those thoughts are still going to come. But we have to get a grip on ourselves. We have to really get a handle on the situation with this central sword so that we can resist these other thoughts, these contrary thoughts, these doubts and questions from coming in and messing things up. So I think that's very important. And I think this is primarily what your ego, what your conscious mind really is going to be focused on, is to just kind of let this Emperor and this Nine of Discs do their thing, right? And trust in yourself enough that you can explore the nature of this relationship. Again, it doesn't have to be romantic. It could be platonic. Maybe it's business. Maybe it's just a friend. Maybe it's an acquaintance. Maybe it's just someone you run into one time, have a brief conversation with, and that's it. Okay? How are you going to know when this person has entered your life? I think because of all of this air energy that's going on and all of this weird kind of gut feeling that you're trying to rationalize, right? You're going to have an instant feeling of intrigue and importance with this person, but your mind is going to rebel against that, okay? And that's where we've been here. Now, what else we see is the Five of Swords, but upside down. Spirit's on top here. Usually this card's like that, right? This is the right way. I think this is the right way, right? Where we put Spirit. In this case, Spirit is that Emperor. That Emperor is in control of all of these cards. Look at this. We've got the five, right? The pentagram, it shows Spirit elevated above the four elements, right? Earth, air, fire, water, Spirit on top. Now look at the overhead. What do we have here? We have Earth, air, fire, water, right? Four elements with Spirit on top. So I think what is really going on is this is something that is bringing a really kind of perfect alignment within you. Your energies are just going to be so balanced, so well put together this week through this experience, right? That you're really, especially if we're able to put Spirit on top, right? If we can embrace this energy and we can trust in this Emperor, trust in that, again, God, Goddess, Deity, your higher self, your conscience, whatever it is, your higher soul, trust that energy to be the leader, to be the authority over these other elements. That we've talked about all of these other elements, okay? And I think the key to it all is what you're going to feel or learn or understand through this relationship, through this acquaintance, through the meeting of this person. I think next 7 days, this person's going to come into your life, or you're going to somehow bump into them, right? And it's almost like that bumping into them. And maybe it's a little, maybe you're going to just kind of, brush shoulders walking down the street or something. But it's going to be enough that really is going to give you this sense of like a stellar alignment kind of thing. Where it's just going to feel like everything finally locks into place and the door is open, right? The lock has been turned. Things are just in the perfect structure now. And I think that it's going to be, again, your conscious mind, your ego may rebel against this because it doesn't make sense. It's not rational, right? But that's where the trust in this Emperor comes into play. That's where we have to put Spirit back on top. The card usually is like this, where all of the four elements, the physical realities of things, how we feel, what we perceive, what our logic tells us, All of that kind of stuff is overriding what our intuition tells us, overriding what Spirit is trying to tell us. That's the usual way this card works, right? And that's a defeat. That's being overwhelmed and overcome by these contrary thoughts and feelings, right? And perceptions. But the way this card was dealt is this way. So, in effect, we're not doing that, right? We're trusting in this spiritual energy that even though we may feel some weird way, we may be thinking all these contrary thoughts, our perception may indicate that, this is something else. We're trusting in our higher self. We're trusting in our spirit. Okay? And that's going to take a lot of courage on your part. And this is that fire energy again. We've got good fire today. We've got the Emperor. We've got the Four of Wands. And we've got this Princess of Wands. So it's going to take a lot of courage on your part to put yourself in this position, right? To engage with this person, to trust in that spirit, and to figure out what kind of closure, what kind of loose ends is this whole experience tying up for you, right? What is it that's still lingering in your life that you haven't had closure on? And I don't know why bumping into this person is going to bring you closure to something unrelated, right? But I think it's going to trigger something in you. It's going to get some kind of a wheel turning. And that's the wheel here. And the Princess of Wands, it's going to challenge you a little bit, I think. Right? This card's in the position of your fears, worries, and concerns. This video's getting pretty long. We should probably wrap this up. The Princess of Wands, I think, is you learning more and more as time goes on how to trust this Emperor energy within yourself. How to trust your own kind of higher authority, higher leadership. Okay? Self-leadership. That's pretty straightforward. It's going to require some bravery and courage on your part. Okay? Finally, on the path of the Serpent, we have the water on water, the Queen of Cups. Now, this could be talking about the evolution of your relationship with this person. Maybe it is going to become something greater, something more significant. Maybe it will be a really close friend. Maybe it will be a lover or a romantic partner. Maybe it will be a very important business associate or very important friend, etc. I think what this is indicating, though, is that through your interaction with this person and your struggle with all of this elemental energy that we see here, you're going to come to a very deep understanding, right, with the Queen of Cups. A very deep understanding of your relationship with the world, your relationship to the rest of the world, with the universe. You're going to understand your role, your place in all of that. And it's really a feeling like your intuition is being opened, that you're being opened, okay, to this intense feeling, this intense like download of spiritual energy. And this is that water again. So I think it comes back full circle to what we were saying with that healing, the healing water that you're experiencing now, that you're expressing. I think in some way it comes back to that. Now it could be that this is a person that you meet through the course of your healing work, right? This healing water that you're utilizing. It could be that's where you encounter this person, but it leads you to a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you. Okay? Very significant encounter in the next 7 days. Let's go to this mystery card now. I almost forgot about it. I don't know what this possibly could be. I'm thinking maybe another major arcana. Maybe it'll be the Empress, right? But let's not waste more time. Let's just look right at it. 5 of Wands. Some more fire energy. I think the fire really is significant for you. And I think since we have a lot of the water, right? Water up here, and the little bit of earth that we have, some passive kind of magnetic energies. We have a lot of fire too. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 fires. So with the 5 of Wands, I feel like you need this. This is like the really strong, assertive authority, right? This is not the kind of timid, yielding, letting somebody else make the decisions. No, this is you really reaching out with your hands and taking a grasp of things. This is you really gripping that Ace of Swords, that confidence, that truth, that understanding, right? That is you grasping and taking hold of your own kind of runaway thoughts, right? And that is you really, I think, becoming this authority. Now, it could be that we've been looking at this Emperor card, this Emperor energy, as an external authority. God, goddess, deity, even our own conscience. Maybe it's something other than us. But I think with this 5 of Wands, it's a merging of those energies. It's you really not looking at this as if you are these 4 elements and you need the outside authority. No, you're all of this together. You are this upright pentagram. You are the 4 elements infused with spirit. And, 5 of Swords, 5 of Wands. So we have a reinforcement of this idea that you are not just these elements down here that are sometimes feeling, sometimes thinking, sometimes acting, sometimes, attracting. You are all of those things, and you are spirit, right? So it's almost like you're being really glued together and animated, And I think that's very significant. And I think this may be a difficult reading. It may be a little bit confusing. I'm not sure I understand all of the energies. But leave me some comments. Let me know that you were here. Let me know what you think about all of this. And definitely let me know if this resonated with you. We're going to go ahead and jump over to the extended. If you want to join us, please click on the link that's right here. And you can have access to all of the extended readings. Okay. This was your weekly reading here on Dove and Serpent Tarot, and I thank you so much.